Back in 2018, my partner Claire and I wanted a break from the winter chill. So we took a week off and flew to a gorgeous beach resort in Mexico. The sunlit beaches had crystal clear waters and the weather was just perfect. We scored an affordable, all inclusive deal for 7 days. Imagine a buffet, 3 pools, beachfront access, countless bars, and even an entertainment hall. During our stay, we made a plan to explore the area. We kicked off with some laid-back days, sipping unlimited drinks and soaking in the resort's relaxing vibes. The surroundings boasted lush jungles and picturesque roads, so on the third day, we hopped onto a private shuttle to reach a car rental place nearby. The shuttle driver advised us to stick close to the coast as there were some unsafe zones. We got ourselves a modest Ford Fiesta from the rental in a small city, a little way up from the resort. There was this one long road stretching beside a series of resorts, alongside miles of dense jungle and the occasional small town. We drove south until we reached Tulum, which turned out to be less charming than we had thought. Still, we cruised around before heading back north. Our real adventure began when we spotted a dirt road leading into the jungle. Out of curiosity, we decided to drive along it. Jungle flanked us on both sides, and the wide dirt road offered a bit of off-road fun. Claire was a bit worried about dirtying up the rental car, but we were having too much fun to think about that. However, we soon had a reality check. We encountered 3 men stepping out of the jungle, and we both knew trouble might be brewing. As they approached our car, tension started to rise. They spoke in Spanish, but I managed to tell them I didn't speak the language. Well, it didn't take long for the situation to escalate. One of the men knocked on Claire's window, and I told her not to open it. The guy near my window demanded money, and my heart raced as I saw another man approaching with a knife in his hand. I hit the gas pedal and the car shot forward. The men shouted and chased us, but the car was too fast. Our hearts pounded as we drove off that dirt road. After that frightening encounter, we decided to stay close to the resort. We left the car in the parking lot and chose not to return it right away. The next day, following a suggestion from the resort staff, we drove to a nearby cenote, a stunning natural pool. We took a similar dirt road and followed the signs until we reached our destination. Surprisingly, we were the only ones there. The serene experience turned eerie when we heard rustling and footsteps around us. Out of nowhere, a man appeared, speaking Spanish. We followed him, feeling uneasy. He led us off the path, and Claire noticed a knife in his pocket. In a split second, I told her to run, and we sprinted back to the car. The man chased us, but his pace was slow. We managed to escape, and we drove back to the rental place, relieved but shaken. As we got into the car, 3 people emerged from the path and tried to open our doors. They even hit the windows trying to break them. We sped away, heading back to the resort. We shared our ordeal with the resort staff to warn other guests. After that, we decided not to venture out of the resort until it was time to leave for the airport. Those 2 days of fear and danger made us rethink our plans. Mexico had given us unforgettable memories, but the danger we faced overshadowed the beauty we'd seen. We haven't been back since, and I'm not sure if we ever will. Even in seemingly safe areas, we realized that unexpected dangers could lurk around any corner. In July of 2022, I took the plunge from living with my parents for 28 years to buying my very own house, just a 30-minute drive away. The transition was a bit jarring, getting accustomed to this new space. You see, in my parents' home, I'd often be roused from my sleep by my dad's nightly wanderings. He's a chronic insomniac, frequently needing water or bathroom trips. My move was meant to finally bring some peace and quiet. My new home consisted of a small basement, a first floor with various rooms, and an upstairs with bedrooms. Setting up was a joint effort with my dad for the first couple of days. After that, I put finishing touches to the place. About a week into moving, I was almost settled, furniture arranged, and a feeling of home sweet home. But that Sunday night, I could sense trouble sleeping. Taking melatonin and a sleeping pill, I hoped for an undisturbed night. These usually kept me asleep, but this time I was awoken by a sound from outside my room. Still groggy from a vivid dream, I heard footsteps that seemed so familiar, the kind my dad made during his nighttime trips up and down the stairs. Disoriented, I tried to ignore it. But then I realized something was off. The footsteps, the ones that had always been my dad's, had stopped. It hit me that this was different. In a half-awake state, I mumbled, "Oh, Dad," hoping for a response. Silence. Nervously, I ventured out of my room, switching on lights in each room I passed. As I reached the stairway, the sight I met was unreal. A masked man at the bottom, staring up at me. Panic surged, but I managed to yell at him to get out of my house. To my surprise, he left, turning and exiting through the front door. I raced down to lock it after him. As I called my dad, my heart pounding, I heard the back door slam shut. Another person was in the house and I hadn't even noticed. My dad picked up, his usual insomnia keeping him awake. He urged me to call the police while he stayed on the line. They arrived soon after and I recounted what had happened. The police questioned me about the robbery, asking for details on the intruders, what they might have taken, and their escape direction. Unfortunately, I hadn't seen them leave, and couldn't provide much beyond the fact that one was tall, masked, and left an indelible memory of fear. Though it seemed they hadn't taken anything of value, the method of entry was a kitchen window. Home invasions were something I'd heard about on the news, but never anticipated experiencing. The shock of it happening right after moving into my first house was surreal. Regretfully, I couldn't offer much help to the police in terms of descriptions. Now, I sleep with a knife by my bedside, a reminder of that unsettling night. I reside in England, and the winter of 2018 left an indelible mark. The snowfall was heavy, but my feelings towards it changed drastically after an unsettling incident. During that time, my immediate family planned a weekend visit to extended relatives in Cornwall. However, I preferred staying home due to strained relations, so I faked an illness, and surprisingly, it worked. I was 16, and my newfound freedom was quite appealing. The first day went well. Spent mostly on my computer and enjoying the snow with my enthusiastic dog. As evening set in, I decided to satisfy my hunger at the village fish and chip shop. It was dark outside, and the snow had ceased. I grabbed some food, wrapped up warmly, and headed back. The route took me through a dimly lit snicket with street lamps, followed by a dark stretch leading to the main road. Halfway through, I heard snapping twigs nearby. At first I brushed it off as an animal, but then the sound intensified and I became uneasy. I sped up my pace, reaching the dark section of the snicket. The bulb in the street lamp had been out for a while, plunging this part into darkness. Suddenly I heard continuous twig breaking, replaced by crunching footsteps. Panicking, I sprinted home, reaching safety. I locked the door, feeling a mix of fear and confusion. The night was restless, and my dog's agitation added to the unease. She barked and scratched at the back door. I reluctantly went to check, but found nothing. The nagging feeling persisted until I realized the back door was wide open. Dread surged through me as I recognized my mistake. Someone had entered my house. I heard a faint thump upstairs, prompting me to flee to the neighbor's house. The police arrived after a while, conducted a search, but found nothing. Security measures were heightened, but knowing that someone had invaded my sanctuary haunted me. Despite the snowy cover, the figure's presence was recorded on CCTV. The fear of their return and knowing they knew where I lived kept me on edge. Gradually, my nights grew more stable, aided by a new lock on the door. Though my apprehension persisted, time has lessened the grip of that chilling encounter. Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed this content, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more exciting videos coming your way. Your support means a lot to us.